Today's encouragement from Daniel chapter 10. And again, as we've gone through this series, and if you have studied the book of Daniel, you'll know that probably the biggest challenge from the book is not the prophecies of the book, it's the prayers. It's the challenge of Daniel's prayer life and the events that happen around Daniel's prayer life. Whether you think of chapter 2, chapter 6, chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10, this chapter we're looking at, and even chapter 11 and 12 really is a result of the prayer life of Daniel. And we're going to read Daniel chapter 6, and we'll read from verse 1. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a message was revealed to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar. The message was true, but the appointed time was long, and they understood the message and had understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant food, nor meat, nor wine came into my mouth, nor did I anoint myself at all till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. And in this we see that Daniel for 3 weeks got down before God in mourning, and Daniel was praying, and it seemed that God wasn't responding. But then we read verse 7, I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men who were with me did not see the vision, but a great terror fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. Therefore I was left alone when I saw this great vision, and no strength remained in me. Verse 10, suddenly a hand touched me, which made me tremble on my knees and on the palms of my hands. And he said to me, O Daniel, man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak to you, and stand upright, for I have now been sent to you. While he was speaking this word to me, I stood trembling. You see Daniel's initial reaction to the hand that touched him. Verse 12, then he said to me, do not fear, Daniel, for from the first day that you set your heart to understand and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come because of your words. Verse 13, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days, and behold, Michael, one of the chief princes, that is the angels sent from God, messengers, came to help me, for I have been left alone there with the kings of Persia. And so what we see in these verses that we read is that God had seen Daniel's prayers and his devotion to God and his burden that he prayed, and it took 3 weeks before Daniel's prayers were answered. There's a musical called Pilgrim, and that musical is based on the book by John Bunyan called Pilgrim's Progress, and many people have heard of this book, because Pilgrim's Progress is an allegory of the life of a Christian in Jesus Christ. In the story, all of the unseen forces of the spiritual world are made visible to the audience, and so the character of the king, representing God, is present on stage for almost the entire show. This character is dressed in white and actively blocks attacks from the enemy, tenderly holds those who are in pain, and nudges others to good works. Despite his indispensable role, the main human characters can't physically see the king, only the effects of what he does. And of course that physical representation, the musical, is maybe a challenge for us in our spiritual lives. Do we live as if the true king is active in our lives, even when we can't physically see him? Maybe we're challenged to recognize the struggle. Where do we struggle to believe that God is with us and that he's working? And maybe we're challenged to see, how does God work, or how is God working in our lives and the lives of others? In a time of need, the prophet Daniel received the vision from the heavenly messenger verse 7, which we read, who have been sent in response to his faithful prayers in verse 12. Remember, from the first day you set your heart before God. The messenger explained that spiritual warfare had delayed his coming, and angelic backup had to be dispatched. Daniel was reminded that even though he couldn't see God, he was surrounded by evidence of his care and attention. If we read verse 19, it says, "Do not be afraid. You are highly esteemed or greatly beloved," with the words of encouragement from the messenger. At the end of The Pilgrim, going back to the musical, when the main character reaches heaven's door, after many testings and tribulations in the book, he joyfully cries out for the first time, "I can see the King." And until we see him with our new eyes in heaven, we can look for him for his action in our lives today. So be encouraged. God sees, and even if God doesn't seem to respond straight away, he's active and working in our lives. Thank you for listening.